bless you. God bless you on this beautiful Wednesday. This beautiful Wednesday evening. I hope that all is well with you and your family and that you're doing good. Welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk About It talk show. So, what are we going to talk about today? Those of you that watched the preview on last week, you remember that we talked about, I named a couple of things that we will be talking about. I've had so many messages and inboxes wanting me to approach various subjects. But to start our primary episode off, I want to talk about something. And hey, most of these inquiries are about the subjects that are near and dear to me. Never think for a moment that you are the only one that has suffered in any capacity or any event that traumatized you. You're not. And I believe that's why God allows us to go through things so that we may be able to help others. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about child abuse first or domestic violence first. And I think I want to address domestic violence first, simply because um, I wasn't a victim of child abuse, but I witnessed it in my home, and that doesn't make it any less serious because I didn't suffer it, but my brothers did. So what I suffered, uh, I can talk about. I can only talk about the child abuse as a witness, not as the recipient of it. So let's talk about domestic violence. If you remember on last week, I talked about how we, my 11 brothers and 3 sisters, how we would witness the abuse of the domestic, horrific abuse of our mother at the hands of my father. So, and I also talked about how at the age of 16, I was so ready to get out of that environment and that I just jumped at the first opportunity and what I thought was an opportunity to get away from all of that. My dreams were to finish high school. I was in the 10th grade and I was 16. I was in the 10th grade. And I wanted to join the military after I graduated. Yes, I did. And it still brings a smile to my face because that was what I wanted to do. I had a heart for the military. I had a heart for the well-organized unit that it is. I had a heart for the strict standards, the strict rules, and the way that you had to adhere to a certain style of living in the military. So I was excited about it. So here comes this man. Well, he was a teenager, but he was 19 and I was 16, going on 11 because we were so sheltered. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just stayed around the house and played and read or did chores or something like that. So anyway, we started a relationship and. Back then, you had to ask the parents' permission for the boy to come and court you. So that's what we did. And eventually, throughout the months that the relationship started, I started having, he convinced me, I was a virgin. He convinced me to have sex with him. And he said, if you love me, you will. So I loved him. I did. and eventually I became pregnant. And it's like a snowball that turned into an avalanche from there. When my parents found out that I was pregnant, my dad put me out, and his mom told him that he had to marry me. So already right there, it was the relationship and that marriage was doomed for failure because it was. I guess I was. I say I was in love. I don't know, but because of uh, the had tos at the beginning of that marriage, and I'm sure he really didn't want to get married because, like I said, he was only 19, and later I found out that he had another girlfriend that he was truly in love with. So, but anyway, we got married. We got married in his mom's living room. Was just he and I, his mom, and his grandparents, and maybe a couple of his sisters. It was over, and the same night that of our wedding, he left me at home and went out with some of his friends. So that was the beginning of our relationship. He would go his way and I stayed at home. So eventually I gave birth to a daughter, and I think she wasn't quite a year old yet, and I can't remember. It's like we were always arguing about something, and and then my only defense was my mouth, and I would let him have it. So, and I guess he wasn't used to that. He wasn't used to uh, women talking back to him, but eventually the punches and the hits start coming, and at first, his mom and his brothers and sisters, they were, they were all on my side, taking up for me. But uh, eventually, the abuse just got worse. And I remember one day we were outside. I don't know what happened. All the family was outside. I was staying. I had moved in with his mom, and we were all outside playing around, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what set him off. I don't know what made him mad, but he got a water hose. Excuse me for a second. This has been so long ago, but he got a water hose. I think I was like 18, about 18 then. And I was maybe about 102, 103 pounds. And he was 6 something and he weighed almost 200 pounds. And he got that water hose and he just started beating on me with that water hose. And all I could do was just lay on the ground and just scream. His sisters and his brothers, everybody was, he was one of the older children. Everybody was just standing around screaming, telling him to stop. And his brother, his older brother grabbed him. And no, I think he went and got a gun or something. I don't remember what his older brother did, but whatever he did, it made him stop beating me with that water hose. So that was, like I said, that was just the beginning of even a lifestyle and a relationship that traumatized, and it still pains me today. And I'm sure that's been over uh, maybe 40 some years ago. But I experienced so many different uh, forms of abuse. It was verbal, it was sexual, it was physical, uh, uh, and then of course there was the adultery. Um, I experienced so much as a young girl. And so when I say that domestic violence is nearest to me because I survives. And let me just put this, let me just pin this. I always say when I'm talking about, uh, when someone asks me questions about my book and asks me how did I get out of that hell that I was in, I always say, I always do this disclaimer. I am not a victim. I am a survivor. So let me say that to you. You are not a victim. You are a survivor because uh, people will try to throw that in your face when you want to talk about it, and they have such a sarcastic and nasty attitude where uh, you always the victim. And I've even been told that it was spoken that well, whatever he did, he didn't do it to me. Okay, but that's a whole different story. But I just want to touch on some of the worst events in this physical abuse. Uh, and then another event I remember because after that event, um, and all the adultery and all that had started going on, and sometimes I wouldn't see him for 2 or 3 days at a time, or sometimes I wouldn't see him for a week. And we were still living with his mom, and he wasn't working. I can't remember him ever having a decent job when he was with me. uh, his mom took care of us and the children, or I was working, or I received some kind of state aid or food stamps. But it's okay. Let me say this: it's okay. It's okay to uh, talk about, and when you talk about something that traumatized you or that you're still healing from, because pain is a journey and there is no quick fix for it. You are constantly healing, and there's going to be something. I don't care if it's been 2 hours or 20 years since this happened to you. Something is going to trigger those memories, and it's going to come back just like it happened a day before. So I want you to be prepared to be able to uh, confront it. Don't try to push it down. Don't attempt to compress it. And if you need to cry about it, I don't care how long it's been, cry about it. If you need to talk to somebody about it, don't talk to someone that's condescending. Don't talk to someone that's going to criticize you. Talk to someone that will care, and you know that they care without a shadow of a doubt. Someone that's going to lend you sympathize ear, and that's going to sympathize with you. That's going to have empathy for what you're dealing with. And if you have to even get a professional, uh, talk to someone professional, a counselor, or even a psychiatrist. It's okay. What we want you to heal. That's the basis, that's the totality of this talk show. We want you to heal. And let's not forget, we can't leave the men out. There are some men that are physically abused as well. You may not understand how that can be, but there are some men that are being physically abused as well. Okay, let's get back to another episode. I'm not going to try to cram everything into one session. I don't remember what circumstances surrounded this event, but uh, no, I take that back. Yes, I do remember. Uh, as I said, he had been cheating during the whole marriage, the whole time we were married. And after a while, got out there as well. I wanted to see what he was. I wanted to get some of that what he was getting. I wanted to do what he was doing. So I did. And come to find out, uh, the people that I was with was coming back telling him what I was doing. And so he found out that I had a boyfriend, and he got me in the house one night, and he tied up my ankles, and he tied up my wrists, and I was laying on the couch, and he got some lighter fluid, and he poured that lighter fluid from my head to my toe, and he stood over me with a lit match, and he told me, he said, if you don't tell me who this man is, he didn't say man, and he just said that nice, I'm gonna throw this lit match on you, and you won't have to worry about children, a man, and nothing else. So I was terrified. And when I tell you that lighter fluid was burning my skin, it was burning my eyes, I was terrified. There was no one in the house but me and him. I think my children were at his mom's house, which was their grandmother. So I ended up telling him who it was. And while I was on the couch screaming, I don't know how she heard it, and it had to be nobody but God. My sister-in-law, it was nighttime. She came to the house and she started banging on the front door for him to open it because she heard me in there screaming. And that's how I got away that time. So I'm going to stop right there at that episode. It's so hard to talk about all those memories. It's hard to talk about because you don't understand. And then let me say this: sometimes we as women we get mad at ourselves because we feel like I never should have gave him the time of day. I never should have even gotten involved with them. But me at my age, I was once again I was 16, and it was so much hell, so much craziness, so much going on at my house. I thought I was going to be able to get out of that hellhole and go into something peaceful. I thought I was going to have something with his family and him that I didn't have with my family and at my house. That was my way of thinking. And also, I want to talk about the situation at home, not only with my mother being abused by my father, I was being abused by my oldest brother. I was being abused by him. And now that I think about it, I say, and I hate to say this because we have to watch what we say because the Bible teaches us, so once again, that there is power in the tongue, that we have to be careful what we speak. But when I say up until for a long time, I felt like I was born into a world of hurt. I felt like I was born to be abused, to be mistreated, just to be walked on from the time that I came into this world. And when I say the majority of my life has been dealing with hurt, physical hurt, mental hurt, and emotional hurt, disappointments, not by strangers, but by people I love and that were supposed to love me. So now that's why I have placed myself in an imposed isolation. I'm I don't know if it's healthy. I don't know. But I feel safe in my isolation. I feel that if I'm not around people, if I don't connect with people, I don't have to worry about being disappointed. I don't have to worry about being hurt. So I've imposed myself into isolation. And don't get me wrong, I don't stay in isolation. If I feel like I want to get out and socialize or mingle or be with people, I do. But for the most part, I don't. And I'm sure that is the result of all the traumatic experiences that I've endured. Now, I'm not saying that's what you should do. What works for me may not work for you. I don't suggest that you impose an isolation period on yourself. I don't suggest that you do that because uh, as a counselor and a minister, I don't think it is healthy to shut yourself away from the world. Find you somebody to talk to. That's why I have started this Let's Talk About It talk show again, because we need to talk about what bothers us. And so many times we worry about uh, staying quiet would keep the peace. And I heard this on a video on TikTok, and the question was presented. They say that staying quiet keeps the peace. But then whose peace are you keeping? So what we do, we hold everything in, and not outwardly, but inwardly, we're balled up. We're cowered in a corner because we feel that we don't have the right to talk about what we want to talk about or what has damaged us, because we don't want to offend anyone, another family member or a loved one or a friend. We don't want to offend them. So we keep quiet. You can't talk about that. They're going to get mad at you. Let's talk about it. I don't care who you have to offend. I don't care who gets mad. I don't care who wants to shut you off. I don't care how many doors close. I don't care how many doors are locked. Let them lock you out of their lives. It's okay. Because the fact of the matter is, if they really had your best interest at heart, they would not feel that way. They don't care. They're worried about what others are going to say. Somebody else is going to know that our life was not as beautiful as we sing. Somebody else gonna know our dirty secret. Somebody's gonna know that we put our dirty laundry out to air. Don't say nothing. I don't want nobody else to find out. I gotta keep a squeaky clean reputation. While they're worrying about what you're dealing with, what they should be worrying about is what's going on in their own mind, in their own lives, and in their own situations. Facts. Don't let anyone intimidate you into keeping the peace and staying silent. This is your truth. Your healing begins. Hallelujah. Your healing begins when you can talk about it. I was told that your healing begins when you can talk about it without crying about it. That's when you know that you're healing. If you have to take baby steps, if you have to take one step at a time, do what you have to do to heal you. My name is Dr. Erling Harris Young. I am your host of Let's Talk About It talk show. I will see you guys again next week. Until then, take the pressure off of the pressure. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. Have a wonderful evening.